everybody? Walker Dead here, back again with another episode for you guys. This is season 2, episode 6 of my Walking Dead reboot series titled Negotiate You Chupacabra. Thank you all so much for the love and support. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, let's get into this episode now, shall we? The episode begins with a flashback sequence from before Rick and his crew came onto the farm. Hershel is in his barn, and he hears a tractor noise. His son is screaming for help. Hershel goes up to his house, grabs his gun, but before he can get down there to kill the two walkers getting onto his property, it is too late. The walkers break the fence and they bite Shawn on the neck. Hershel sees this and he just gets angry. He grabs his rifle and kills the two walkers. Hershel is telling his son, Don't worry, we'll stitch you up. Shawn Greene says, those things, they almost got me, man. Lee tried to save me. Hershel looks at Lee and he's like, I know, son. I know. Dad, I love Shawn. Kenny says, I'm sorry. Hershel gets mad and says, sorry? Your sorry's a lie. You don't get to be sorry. Lee, you tried to help him, but this piece of shit let him die. The next shot is present day as Hershel wakes up from his bed. Beth says, are you okay, Dad? Hershel says, yeah, honey, I'm fine. Beth says, no, you're not. You're not fine. What's going on? Hershel tells Beth, I've been having these weird nightmares about Shawn when he died. Beth says, I'm sorry. And to be honest with you, Dad, I miss him. Hershel says, I miss him too, sweetie, as they hug. The next shot is where we see this mysterious man in the woods and he is watching the farm. The next shot is Lori waking up from her camp bed. She goes outside as Dale says good morning to her. Lori says good morning. Lori puts her wet clothes on a thing as her and Carol are having this nice touching conversation. Carol says, let's cook. I was thinking about something. And Lori says, no, go on, speak your mind. Carol says, I was thinking about cooking food for Hershel and his family tonight. Lori says, agreed. After everything they've done for us, it's only fair we do something nice for them. And Carol jokes and says, you are our unofficial first lady, as Lori smiles and laughs. Rick, T-Dog, John, Glenn, Shane, Andrea, Jimmy, and the others discuss a new plan to search for Sophia. Rick suggests we go in this direction because it's somewhere we haven't searched yet. John says agreed. As Shane says, there could be anybody in that area, right? John says, what are you suggesting? I'm suggesting we stay away from that area because there could be either walkers or people trying to kill us. Rick then interrupts the conversation and says, if Andrew's in that area, we need to do something. We can't just stand around here and do nothing. We have to go out there and try. We have to find that little girl, Shane. Shane says fine. The next shot is Rick and Shane in the woods, and they are having this nice, friendly conversation while looking for Sophia. Shane's like, remember that waitress at Dairy Queen meeting when John went? And Rick says, yeah, but I barely remember her. Nice lady, though, but it's still hard to remember sometimes. What was that expression John always said? If the girl isn't single, then that girl's taken. As they both laugh. Rick then's like, how come we never asked each other about this stuff? Shane says, well, maybe because we're both busy. Let's talk about your love life, Rick. Rick says, sure. Shane says, remember your ex-girlfriend, Sheila, the one you reminded me about? Rick says, well, now wait a second here. I never lied about Sheila. I just said it was complicated. Shane says, complicated. Yeah. That was a good time, man. Shouldn't be talking about this stuff. Those two people from the old life are probably gone. Yeah, things change, right? Rick then says, now wait a second. That doesn't mean we can't just forget about them. Shane says, yeah, you're right. Sometimes you gotta think forward. Even though we're here in these woods, looking for somebody that me and you both already know is dead. Rick says, Sophia, I don't believe Sophia's dead. What are you saying? You saying we should just abandon the search? Shane says yes, but then again, that's not my decision now, is it? Rick says, I'm asking, Shane. I'm asking you. Survival, Rick. Making hard decisions, but you keep going forward and forward looking for the little girl we both know is dead. Think about it. 74 hours, and then after that 17 hours, or 72 hours are up, bam, you're looking for a dead body. Or you're looking and staring right in the middle of it. You're walking around these woods when you're here looking for cats in a tree. Rick says, that's what you think Sophia is? A cat in a tree? No, hold on there. I didn't mean it like that. Don't twist my words. Shane, that little girl looked into my eyes and had faith in me. I failed her, and now, if I didn't, we wouldn't be in these woods right now. What? You want me to be honest? Rick says, I'm counting on you to be. Shane says, I thought you weren't honest. The next shot is Daryl on his horse, but he stops. He sees this weird object, so he goes down the hill, and down this hill is like this small lake with broken trees all over it. And when he goes there, he finds this doll. It is revealed to be Sophia's doll. Daryl sees this and he's like, Sophia! As he's screaming. He puts the doll right next to his pants. He goes back on his horse, but as he is trying to get back to the farm, a snake comes out of nowhere and scares the horse that Daryl's on. The horse gets scared and pushes Daryl off. Daryl falls on the mountain. As he is falling, he hits himself on the ground, but one of his arrows is in his body. As he is on the ground, sliding through the river, mad blood is coming out from his wound, and the blood is all over the lake. Daryl slowly picks himself up, grabs a piece from his shirt, rips it, and ties it around his wound, trying to stop the bleeding. He looks up and sees the mountain. He realizes he has no other choice but to climb the mountain So the quickest shortcut back to the farm. He grabs a stick and starts hiking on the mountain. But as he is almost there, he slips and he just falls right back onto the ground. But only this time he just gets completely knocked out. The next shot is Rick and Shane returning from the woods and returning from their search from Sophia. Rick gives Shane's shotgun back. Laurie says what's wrong. Rick tells Laurie, I had a long talk with Shane. He wants to abandon the search. Laurie asks Rick, what do you think? Rick says, what if it was Carl? Would you want to keep looking? Laurie says, yeah, if it was Carl, I want to know one way or the other. Rick then tells Laurie, Shane says, my good intentions are making us weaker, that I can't make the hard decisions for the good of the group. Laurie says, they're all hard decisions. Rick says, Shane says, well, I'm holding on to what if, thinking that doesn't make sense anymore. He says, like science, basic math, like how much food, how much ammo, how much supplies, not much room there for being soft. But if you really think about it, it's sort of a little easy if you're taking a life like that, where he then grabs Rick and says, listen, none of us were prepared to live a life like this. You are making the best decisions you can with the information you have. I don't see soft in that. Beth then comes and says, Mr. Grimes, my dad wants to talk to you. Rick says, sure. As Rick is walking to go see Hershel and John Miller asks Rick if he's okay. Rick says no, and Rick tells John that he had a long talk with Shane and he wants to go off the search. John is like, what the fuck? Hell no, we're not abandoning that search. That little girl is out there. Hell no. Fuck it. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go out there myself and look for that little girl. If Shane can get his stupid head out of his ass for 5 minutes, he would see that finding this girl is more important than just fucking leaving. Like, really? He needs to get his fucking head together. You know what? I'm gonna go out there myself. Rick stops John and asks him, are you sure? John says, hell yeah. Anything for Carol, and I'll do anything for that little girl. And Rick, don't listen to Shane. You follow what your heart and what your head is telling you. You don't give up. We will find that girl together. As a group. And if Shane can't see that, then all well. He's gonna have to suck it up. As John walks away, Rick has this nice smile on his face as he's walking to go talk to Hershel. The next shot is Daryl waking up, but he is feeling dizzy. As he is trying to get up, his head is just pure dizziness. He hallucinates Merle as Merle comes and says, why don't you pull that arrow out, dummy? It can heal your wound better. Daryl says, Merle, what's going on here? You taking a siesta or something? Daryl says, shitty day, bro. Merle says, you're the one shitty from the looks of things. All those years I've been trying to wage a man out of you. No catch. Binding in the dark like a user. And for what? Daryl says, girl. They lost a little girl. Merle says, oh, you got a thing for little girls now? Because I noticed you stopped looking for old me no more. Daryl says, I tried like hell to find you, bro. Merle says, no, you split, man. Why not first chance you got? Daryl says, you got out. All you had to do was wait. It went bad for you. Rick and I. Merle says, is this the same Rick that cuffed me to the rooftop in the first place? Forced me to cut off my own hand? That's who we're talking about here. You're his bitch now? Hey, I ain't nobody's bitch. You're a joke is what you are. Playing errand boy to a bunch of black dudes, politicians and Democrats. You're nothing but a freak to them. Redneck trash. Well, I got news for you, son. One of these days, they're gonna rape you up their heels like you were dog shit. Hey, they ain't you can know your blood. Now, you get up and do me a favor. When you're up and about, you go back there and shoot your pal Rick in the face for me. Now, you listen to me. Ain't no one ever gonna care about you except me, little brother. Ain't nobody ever will. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. As Daryl gets up, after he closes his eyes and opens them again, he realized that he was hosting him the whole time and that a walker is grabbing his boot, biting the boot. Daryl grabs his other foot and kicks the walker in the face as he sees another walker coming from behind. He pushes the walker to the ground. He grabs the walk and hits it in the face, but then he grabs the stick and smashes the walker's head in, and then he grabs the stick and brutally kills it in a badass fashion. He finishes that walker off by grabbing the stick and putting the stick near its noggin. Daryl, in a badass fashion, grabs the arrow that's on his chest, takes it out of his body, puts it on his crossbow, and kills the walker, shooting it in the head with the crossbow. In a badass fashion. Daryl grabs some walker guts and puts it on his face, and puts it on some of his hands, and says, "Son of a bitch was right." As Daryl is climbing back onto the mountain again, he looks to the sky and hears birds. He hallucinates Merle again, but only this time Merle says, "Please, don't feed the birds." "What's the matter, Darlena? Is that all you have in you? Put on those heels and climb." Daryl says, "I was doing better when you were missing." "Oh, come on, don't be like that. I'm on your side." Daryl says, "Yeah? Since when?" Merle says, "Well, since the day you were born, baby brother. Someone had to look out for your worthless ass." Daryl says, "You never took care of me." "Sure, you talked about big game, but yeah, you were never there." How you doing now?" "I guess some things never change." Merle says, "I'll tell you what, I'm more real than your Chupacabra." Daryl says, "I know what I saw." Merle says, "Yeah, I'm sure those mushrooms really had nothing to do with it, right?" Daryl screams and says, "You better shut the hell up, or what?" "You gonna shut your mouth for me? Well, go on and do it then if you think you're man enough." "Hey, put on those high heels and climb, son." "You know, I would prefer to the calm, brother, because I don't think you're gonna make it to the top." "Yes, come on, baby brother." "Grab your friend Rick's hand." As he opens his eyes again, he notices that he's not hosting anymore. He gets up and screams, "Yeah, you better run." The next shot is Hershel entering the dining room, but he notices that Beth and Patricia are with Lori and Carol and Tara, and they're just cooking, getting the kitchen all ready together. Hershel asks Maggie, "What is this?" Maggie says, "They're cooking dinner for us just for tonight." Hershel says, "Well, that's the first I heard of it." Maggie then says, "Well, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. They want to thank us for helping them." Hershel then says, "We need to be setting clear boundaries with these people. I just think they're getting a little too comfortable here. If you know how I feel, don't make things harder than they need to be." Maggie says, "I'm not in the mood to be having this conversation, okay? They saved our asses." just like we saved theirs. It's just one dinner, and if you don't like it, suck it up. Hershel says, don't get close to them. They're not going to be around forever. Maggie says, yeah, okay. The next shot is Dale walking to the RV as he sees Alan on watch. Dale's like, what up with the all clear routine? Alan says, I don't want to watch clothes anymore, Dale. I want to help Rick and the others keep the camp safe. Is that okay with you? Daryl says, yeah, that's fine. Just asking a question. As Alan sits back down on his chair. Dale and Andrew are in RV, and Dale is like, so that night, huh? Andrew says, yeah, that night. As they kiss, and for the first time, as it's official that they're both officially a couple. As Alan is watching Billy playing with Rachel, Sashi, and Sophia and Carl, as he's watching them all play together in a nice fashion, he smiles. He's like, wow, there might be actually a chance here. He looks through his telescope as he sees a walker boat, but oh little does he know, it's actually Daryl injured. Alan screams, Walker! Walker! Rick comes out and says, just the one? Alan says, yeah, I think I can nail it from here. Rick says, no, Alan, just put the gun down. Alan says, fine. Shane says, well, you best let us handle this. Rick says, hold up. Hershel wants to take care of walkers. Shane says, well, man, we got it covered. Rick says, dang. Goes in the RV, grabs his gun as Andrew's like, what's going on? And Rick tells Andrew and Dale that there's a possible walker coming onto the property. Dale's like, oh shit. As Rick grabs his gun, he runs out the RV. T-Dog grabs his baseball bat as Glenn grabs his pistol. As Shane, T-Dog, Glenn, Rick, and John are running through the field, they catch up to Daryl, as they look at Daryl, and Glenn's like, holy shit, is that Daryl? Daryl's looking at the group, and he makes this funny line and says, that's the third time you pointed that stupid gun at my head. You gonna pull the trigger or what? I got fucking injured, as you can see. I'm fucking bleeding, and I'm fucking, having a very fantastic, awesome fucking day. Thank you very much for asking. And guess what? I found this fucking doll, and yeah, I found it right next to the creep bag right there. I'll show you on the map. And on top of that, the fucking horse, John says, calm down, everything's gonna be okay. Come on, let's take you to Hershel and Felipe. They'll patch you up good. As Felipe and Hershel are patching up Daryl shows Rick where he found the doll, and he also gave him the location. Daryl says, I found it right next to the creep bag right there. And he also says, you're welcome. Rick asks Felipe and Hershel, how's he doing? Felipe says he should be fine, but he needs to take it easy and get plenty of rest because he just had a massive injury cleaned. Hershel then says, I had no idea we'd be going through all the antibiotics so quickly. Any idea what happened to my horse? Daryl says, you mean the one that almost killed me? Smart if he left the country. Hershel says, we call that one Millie, that's what matters. But if you or one of your group members find it, can you let me know? Rick says, sure. Hershel then jokes and says, well, it's a fucking miracle how you all were able to survive this long. As Rick and Shane leave the room, Lori asks Rick how is he. Rick says he's gonna be okay. Shane then immediately interrupts the conversation as Shane says, I have to agree on Hershel on this one. We can't keep going out there after what just happened. Rick says, wait, you will quit now? Daryl just risked his ass and his life to bring back the first hard evidence we had. Shane says, well, that's one way to look at it. The way I see it, Daryl almost died today for a fucking doll. Rick says, yeah, I know how you see it. as Rick and Lori walk away. The next shot is everybody eating at the kitchen because it's nighttime, obviously. Everyone's eating at the kitchen. John is writing letters to Beth saying, "How are you doing? How's your day going? Blasey, blasey, blasey. How are you feeling?" Beth is smiling at John Miller, blushing, and she's writing on the paper saying, "I'm fine, thank you for asking. I'm feeling really good." As John Miller has the paper in his hand, he wants to write, "Will you go out on a date with me?" But then just scratches on the paper and writes down something else because he's a little shy. Glenn then brings up the guitar they found to Hershel. Glenn's like, "We found a guitar. Do anyone? And it looks really good. And it's really good shape. Do you guys know how to play it?" Hershel says, "I don't, but Otis did, and well, he was amazing at it." Glenn says, "I'm sorry you lost your friend." Hershel nods but doesn't say anything as he's continuing eating his food. The next shot is Carol bringing food to Daryl as Carol says to Daryl, "I figured you might be hungry." Daryl says thanks as Carol kisses Daryl on the head as Daryl says, "Hey, watch the stitches." Carol says, "You need to know something." Daryl looks at Carol like, "What?" Carol then says, Today you did more for my little girl than her own dad ever did in his whole life. So I thank you for that." Daryl says, "No problem." Carol then says, every bit of good in people is good, I guess. Every bit." And leaves. After Carol leaves, Daryl smiles a little bit. The next shot is Carl resting on his bed as Rick asks Carl, "Are you feeling better?" Carl says yes. We then get this famous shot of Rick saying, "Since you're in the club now, get to wear a hat. Did you know? Here." Wow, cool. "Thanks, Dad." Rick says, "You're welcome." I think, well, if you don't mind, I would like to borrow it from time to time. Carl says, "Sure." As Carl goes to sleep. Rick goes back to the dinner table as Rick asks, "Where's Lori?" John says she went outside to get some fresh air. Rick says, "Oh." The next shot is Lori outside, and she is just a little nervous. She opens one of one of those things that says you're pregnant or not. She opens the bag, takes one of those things out and puts it in her important part, and as the thing beeps, she takes it out, and it says positive, meaning she is pregnant. She is scared by this as she is crying in sadness. Rick sees Lori crying as Rick asks Lori if she's okay. Lori says no. Rick says, "Why not?" Lori then reveals to Rick that she's pregnant. Rick is fucking in shock by this, and he is speechless. Glenn goes to the barn in hopes of sleeping there just for tonight. As he goes up to the top attic, opens the door, but he sees mad walkers in the barn. Glenn's like, "Holy smokes." Maggie comes out of nowhere and says to Glenn, "You were not supposed to see this." And boom, that is the end of the episode. The next episode is going to be titled "Fight for It," and to be honest with you guys, there's gonna be like a double mid-season finale, so I can't wait to start filming for that, and I can't wait for you guys to check it out. The next episode is gonna be really good. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. I wrote it myself. I know not a lot of action happened, but I need to build up that character development for the second half, because the second half is going to be bananas. So please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. And as always, peace out.